And I think we're live. Let me go check my backup to make sure. Yeah, there
There
we
we go.
are.
Yeah, it looks like it's it looks live. It says live orange. I guess I don't know what that
There we go. So now we're cooking hot. So what I was gonna say is first, where are you and what time is it there?
I'm in KL now. It is 10:14 a.m. here.
And for
Is
the
it?
people listening who don't know KL, it's Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia,
Yeah,
correct?
Malaysia. Yeah.
Okay. So that was a long time ago for me, but I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah, passing through. I'm on my way home. I decided to catch up with friends over the weekend. I was just in India for a month, then Sri Lanka for a week, and was heading home to Bangkok, and then caught up with some friends and decided to stay here for a week and catch up with them. So I'll go home Monday. I'm back on Monday.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Isn't it nice to be able to do that? Isn't it nice that we have a life where I
It's
can say,
great.
you know what?
It's
I
great.
think I just want to go. I think I just want to go to KL for a while. I think,
It's
yeah.
amazing. It's funny. I was just responding to a somebody posted on my YouTube channel, and my last comment, I'll read it to you verbatim right here. So it was the video that I did about it was me and the two other brothers in Bangkok,
Okay.
Brandon and Antonio. I don't know if you saw that video about living as a black man abroad. So somebody sent me this, and it goes, "It's not that we don't like to travel. Hell, most can't. Once you catch a felony, you can't get a visa. 1/3 of black men have felonies, and there you go." And I'm like, and before you mess up, I was replying to this, and I'm like, "Yo, first of all, you mean people are making decisions that prevent them from traveling instead of saying you can't?" I was like, no, people make choices not to do something or
Yeah.
to fuck up and get in trouble. And then the felony thing, that is such a common misconception. That's not true.
Wait. Let
And
me back up. I know people that got jammed up that way, but please contradict me. I'd rather be wrong than right.
here is what the law is. So he said visa. I'm assuming he meant passport. Visa, passport are different things. Now,
Right.
places like Canada can hit you with you can't get in after a certain even misdemeanors, certain criminal cases. The U.S. code is that you can't get a passport for certain drug-related felonies during when you have that felony and during your probation time. After your probation is over, you can get a passport and child support over $2,500. This is why it's such a common misconception that after you get a felony in the black travel circle, because so many brothers have felonies that are drug related and are still on probation. They get those long ass probations, 5 years probation, whatever, or brothers aren't paying their child support. $2,500 plus because they might have been incarcerated, they didn't have a job, whatever. But if you don't have a drug related felony, and if you don't have $2,500 in back child support due, you're perfectly okay to get a passport. That's what the law says.
Can I tell you a horror story about
Yeah,
um, child support?
yeah. Go ahead.
You and I are both recreational martial artists, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Well, I was at a gym with a guy, and our coach walked up with a letter in his hand that it had a Japanese embossment on it. And we were like, well, what is this for?
Ooh.
One of our friends was accepted to Japan for some big league tournament, super death onslaught. We were so happy for him. 2 weeks later, we're all getting changed after a good workout, and he just starts crying out of nowhere. Just elephant tears. We're like, are you injured? What's going on? But we realized it was emotional. And turns out that he had some child support issues that, of course, it's his business. No one needs to know about it. But
Yeah.
and it cooked his passport. There was no coming back from that. They just straight up said, "You're not going anywhere."
Yep. Yep. Until you clear that or get a plan in place with the proper authorities, you're done. Like, that's it. So yeah, it was like, it's interesting. Like when you say, is it a great we have this lifestyle? it's I'm still fighting this narrative that we're special. Like people look at us as, even though we are, but people look at us as these special unicorns that are doing something extravagant. When I'm like,
Right.
bro, it's cool. Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. But if you apply yourself, it's like anything else. It's like having a six pack. Like for some people, it's a lot easier than others. But pretty much everybody can get a six pack. Just
Yeah.
stop eating
Yeah.
cheeseburgers and do the work.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We can't pretend like it's an accident. I think the difference is this. It's that at any given time, I can manipulate my body to gain bigger muscles, or if I really work my ass off, I can get a flat stomach again. But once you've been involved with the legal system in the United States of America, that's
Mm-hmm.
it. It's
Mm-hmm.
over. There is no redemptive quality to our judicial system. And for the people listening, this isn't what I planned on going in on, but that's why I like Erick so much. Here's the thing, that's why I love Erick so much. That's why anytime, anywhere, I'd love to go on and talk to him, because we always get into things that have a deeper meaning, and things that not only are going to help other people, but things that we need to work out, because he's one of the few people that can truly relate to my life experience. So when he bounces ideas off me, I actually respect his opinion. So, but yeah, it's that whole United States is one of those countries. That's it. Once you're in a situation where, once you're in a situation where you've been
But I
involved.
think I feel what you're saying, but I also think it's I think. See, I don't like that. I don't like that because it supposes that there's no way out. And I think there's some situation. I mean, of course, if you locked up, you get 40 years, then it's a wrap. But if you're an adult on the streets, free, relatively free, there are opportunities. I hate to say it, but money solves all problems, man. And if you can find a way to make money. Look, man, we live in a world where 13-year-olds are millionaires from playing video games on YouTube.
Yes.
That's our world. That's really our world, man. So like cats who complain about not being able to get a job, and it's like, yo, you got internet, you got YouTube, just talk. Like find something you're passionate about, basketball, whatever, and you can make money that way. There's so many opportunities out there, man. I think maybe I'm getting to a point in my life where I've been blessed to be successful in so many different areas that the excuses are getting a little tired. They're wearing me down. Like the cycle of poverty is very real, but so many of us have made it out of it. It's like, yo, man, you're making decisions that are preventing you. Instead of saying why you can't do something, say why you can do something. Like, oh man, I wish I could stop wishing to start working. Everybody wishes. Like, I wish I could do this. Well, what are you doing to achieve that goal? As I always tell people, what did you do today to achieve your goal?
Yeah.
Like
how did you
today.
work your hustle today?
Yeah. Today, how did you what's your goal and how did you try to achieve that thing today? Like what did you do today? It's like it was crazy, it was funny. Like I was trying to I want to work on my core strength a little more.
Right.
So today I'm gonna go do Turkish get-ups, which I hate. Like I hate Turkish get-ups. So I'm gonna hit the gym and I'm gonna do Turkish get-ups, like old school style. Like I want to start doing more functional training, like because my core is just not working. Like I just can't burn off that baby fat. I have to call it that middle-aged baby fat. I can't burn it off like I used to. So I'm gonna go to the gym and incorporate like new functional training techniques and see how that works. And that's my shift, So I never buy this, it's impossible or no way to get out. But
Well, as far as functional strength goes, have you considered a belligerent mustache? Because I think it increased my testosterone by about 4%.
That shit gives you superpowers. No, I got to keep it trim.
Yeah, you know what? Women barely commented on it at all, but I can't go by a day without saying, yo, man, I wish I could do that. I'm like, well, why can't you? Like, I don't know what the wife will say. I don't know what they're going to say at the job. I'm like, man, come on. You can do it. But yeah, I will say when I was on right around the New Year's holiday, I wasn't seeing any clients, and I stopped shaving and just living slovenly. And when I went back, I was like, you know what? There's this the man that they based the Lone Ranger on, Bass Reeves.
Yeah, brother.
Has
Yeah, Marshall.
he has this big mustache. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get
Yeah,
something like
Marshall
that.
Reeves. Yeah.
Get something like that. But yeah, it's when we do hit that age in our life where it's hard to listen to the excuses, but
Yeah.
I'm also trying to learn compassion because
Yeah, empathy. True. You're absolutely right.
when I go back and I look at when people ask me, well, how did you become successful? Every time I think of a point where this is one of the decisions I made, it goes back even farther, and
Yeah.
I get to that point where I realize, there were just
Yeah.
it's
You could be I think you could be empathetic to people, but you don't have to condone their bad life choices. Like, yo, fam, I understand where you're coming from. I grew up in Cleveland, like in the 80s and 90s. Like, I get it. I get the struggle. Okay, but so what? Like, yo, I think maybe because I spent time in places like Cambodia, I was just in India for a month. I'm like, yo, dog, like you can't talk be like so many, and it was like somebody else said that like, yo, black people should get free passports, like so that we can, like not only for reparation reasons, but just so we can see. Like, I'm like, yo, we doing all right. I was like, we ain't. It sucks, but
he
like
said we
there are
should
people
get
out
free
there.
passports. That's
Yeah,
actually not a bad. That's not a
yeah,
bad because what is it? Reparations is not going to come in the form of
yeah,
of cash. We know
yeah,
that, but that's pretty slick. I hadn't thought
yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
I think that. I mean, I've long thought that was a good thing. But here's the thing: educated, wealthy white folks that are in political power, they understand the power of what you and I have, the power of freedom, the power of
Mm,
choice, the power of exposure. And you'll go to a place like India, like a place like Thailand, a place like Japan, a place like Sweden, a place like Germany, and you see what they do to solve the problems that we have, problems with corruption, with education, with healthcare, with clean air, et cetera, et cetera. And you want to bring that shit back. They were like, no, we can't have these educated Negroes running around. They're already militant as hell anyway. Like,
well, here's the thing. Do you remember watching I Am Not Your Negro?
of course. I
Okay.
watched it in Thailand, actually. Yeah.
I actually they played it here in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and one of the first parts of the movie when it was talking about grappling with the issue of returning to the United States. Because at the time, I believe Baldwin was living in France, which
Yeah, he
at
was
that
in
time
Paris.
was a haven for Black
Yeah.
intellectuals who had
Yeah,
the
Justin
money.
Baker, but you're right. Yeah.
Right.
Everybody.
And it was interesting just to listen to him talk about, in his voice, of course, that grim decision you have to make. Do I go back to the United States? When he said, I believe it was him who said it, and it's been paraphrased many times, that he had to leave the United States just to be a regular man.
Yeah. And to be a gay man. Like
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, I
that,
forgot about the gay part. Yeah.
yeah. Like, I mean, it was a point where, you know, so, somebody called me. It was like, man, you're like a young James Baldwin. I was like, no. I'm not even on that level. But I understand what the connection was. Is that so many of us, we I say it often. I think at least once in your life, every young black man should live abroad in a different country where he doesn't speak the language, where people don't look like him for at least a year to understand what it is to be him.
Yeah.
Because so much of our narrative has been written for us. Like either you're the oppressed or you're the freedom fighter. As a black man in the U.S., like you're underneath the weight of a system that marginalizes and abuses black men, or you're fighting against that system. Either way, you don't have an opportunity to develop your own character, your own humanhood, like your own personality. Everything about you is developed based on that system. Out
Yeah.
here, I could be a fucking ballerina today if I want to be. And there's nobody to clown me. There's no system to stop me. There's no restrictions to that. So I think Baldwin, of course he's right. I think it's an interesting argument to have. I mean, conversation, not argument. Interesting conversation to have when it comes to returning home.
Yeah, it's because I was talking to someone today, and again, it doesn't hit me until it hits me. I've lived outside the United States more than half my adult life.
Yeah, yeah, I'm creeping up there myself. Yeah,
You know, and that whole, because I was talking to someone who'd lived in Brazil for a while, but then went back to the United States, and she was just telling me that weird feeling that she has, but she can't put her finger on it. And I said, well, remember, it's not them that changed, it was you. If
yeah.
anything feels wrong, you got to remember you're the person that's different now, not them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
you know, what do you do? What do you do?
Man, don't go back.
Well, there's always that. There's, you know, but that's not always an option because you have to go back, even if it's just for
I got yeah,
just
but
to visit. You know, just to see
not
people you
really.
love.
Not, that'd be all right. Not really. I'm
Uh,
taking my mom to Thailand in September. Like
Well, here's the
what?
thing. My mother just did a 360 on me because I had been trying to get her to move abroad for a long time, and she fought me tooth and nail. My dad's dead. My mother is like, you know, she's just this powerful woman who had a hard time coming to grips with her own old age.
Yeah.
And now, of all times, she's talking about, well, what if I came out there? I'm thinking, you choose now of all the times that I've been trying to get this done. You pick it now because I'm working on getting, you know, my passport here for Brazil.
Uh,
So, do you have your
she's
second passport yet?
no. I'm still on the. Oh wait. You mean my overall passport or second
No, a second
citizenship?
second country.
No.
That's
Not
got to
yet.
be a project, my friend. You got to really get on that because
Yeah, I'm on the fence about it. I think I'm going. It's probably going to be Europe though. It's probably going to be a European passport,
well,
likely Germany. I'm leaning towards Germany because
yeah,
I was going to do Thailand. I was going to do Thailand because I'm deeply invested in Thailand. But that fucking passport ain't worth the paper is printed on most of the
and
world.
that's, you know, that's an unfortunate thing,
Yeah,
but
but I'm probably likely going to get Germany though.
yeah.
It's likely.
Yeah, and see, the cool thing about Brazil is nobody hates Brazil. You know, it might
Uh,
not be the fanciest place in the world, but nobody looks at a
they ain't got
Brazilian
no beef.
passport, and yeah, nobody has looks at a Brazilian passport and just get mad and be like, "I want to kill people from there." I
Yeah,
think it has a little bit more standing than it did than a Thai passport does.
yeah,
But you know, here's the thing: no one says you have to give up either one.
true. Yeah,
You know, you don't have to. You don't have to say, "Hey, it's going to be either or."
mm,
So that's just, but here's the thing, man, you know, especially you talking about that phase of life that you're in, no matter how simple it is, the process will be so much harder than you think.
well, I'm sure. I'm
So
sure.
I strongly suggest getting on top of it, man, getting right on top of it and saying, hey, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna definitely say start now. Don't wait. Don't be in a
Yeah,
situation where, you know, you gotta rush. Don't be one of those people because when you do, you know, when you have time, it just makes things so much smoother.
right.
But speaking of passport issues and passport privileges, I wanted to ask you about a picture that you posted on Instagram, and you
Mm.
said that you were not going to post that picture on your normal feed. Can you help me with
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Oh, yeah. So I didn't put that image in my photo essay from India on my page. So there were two images from that project. I was covering the Kumbh Mela. The Kumbh Mela is the largest gathering of humans in the world. 50
Yeah.
million people the day I was there. It was insane.
Can you give me some backstory on it? Because I know what I read, but give us the long-winded version.
Of the image?
Yeah, of what it
Okay.
is, that place.
Oh, the Kumbh Mela. So the Kumbh Mela is a Hindu gathering. It's the triumvirate, the convergence of three rivers, two real, the Ganges, the Sangam, and the Yangon, the
Okay.
three rivers in India, in Prayagraj or Allahabad, where they all come together and create this holy place that they consider the most holy place. So every 4 years they have this gathering, the Kumbh Mela, 4 and 12 years for the major ones. And basically, it's the Naga Sadhus. You've probably seen them before. They're covered in white ash. They're naked, smoking weed. That's how the Western media portrays them. But they're the Hindu equivalent of monks, is what they are.
Okay.
They're just a lot cooler. They look like Rastafaris. Like that's the best way I can describe these guys. So they all come together to argue. That's what they go to the Kume. They go to argue about the faith. And they go to wash away their sins at the Triveni in the water. So you go see people dunking in the water. You also see the same thing in Varanasi, in Ganga and Varanasi. Also, quick point: it's not the Ganges, it's the Ganga. People have been saying it. Westerners say it wrong all the time. We call it
Really?
Ganges, Ganges. We fuck that up. It's Ganga. That's the name of the river in India. The Ganga, Ganga, Ganga River. So you see that. So the government of India and Lonely Planet invited me to come and cover this event. It was myself and about 35 other journalists from around the world. We all came together to do this event. So we were there 6 days. We were together 6 days. Varanasi, in Prayagraj, and Lucknow. And I actually started the project earlier in New Delhi. So I was in New Delhi, Varanasi, Prayagraj, and then I went a bunch of other places. So the day of the Kumbh Mela, we were at the Kumbh Mela, and you have these tent cities. Imagine 50 million people in one place. 50 million in one place.
50 million.
50 million. The largest gathering of humans in our history of a species. The most people in one place at one time. It is officially confirmed the largest gathering of humans in history. The last one was 30 million. That was the previous record. So at this event, you have people like myself who will be considered luxury pilgrims. I was pressed, but we live in tents with heated showers and bathrooms and big comfy king-size beds. It was nice. But across you have pilgrims. You have where people live on the floor. They have basic tents. The temperature gets cold at night. It's proper pilgrimages. So there was a lot of images that I did not share because it was poverty porn. Like
poverty porn. Let's back up for a minute because this is something I ran into here in Brazil. Not to interrupt you, but I always want the people listening to know we're going with it. Poverty porn are pictures that people take for no other reason other than to be able to say, look, I'm around these regular or poor people, being around them, showing my benevolence. You often see people holding children that are wearing rags, and they take the picture, not because they're trying to do something virtuous. And I have no problem saying take pictures of yourself if you're doing something virtuous. But there are people who you really can see the, how would I put it, the falseness in it.
Yeah, I think poverty porn, I think it's a little bigger. And this is what I mean. And then this is something that's been on my mind recently, and I'm working on a piece about it right now.
Okay.
I think this whole poverty porn thing has gotten a bit out of control on both sides, the criticism of it and the creation of it. I think when you look at stuff like Save the Children, for example, they're entirely benevolent. Like their intentions are relatively pure. But they understand marketing. They understand how people are. So the pictures of a small child with flies on his face is significantly more powerful than children sitting in a classroom.
Okay.
But the message can be the same, but one is significantly more powerful than the other. So in that aspect, is it right or is it wrong to use that image? That's a matter of perspective. When you have, when you have fucking white people, models doing photo shoots in the middle of traditional villages with African people all around them who are malnourished, like that shit is just clearly
Although,
wrong.
to be fair, in the interest of inclusivity, I am part of several almost exclusively Black American groups, and I've seen a lot of people getting dragged around for doing the same thing.
We do the same shit too.
Going there. And It,
Yeah, we do the same thing. It's Western privilege. Yeah, you are absolutely right. We do the same thing. But I think it again, it's complicated. It's complicated. But let's not get too far off track on that one. We can have a whole other conversation about poverty.
Right.
So my thing when it came to this event in regards to poverty porn was that I will not post an image or use an image unless it directly has something to do with my narrative, the story that I'm creating. So a lot of the image, for example, I have an image of a guy taking a shower outside. He's just in a little loincloth and he's like literally has to kneel down to the child size to get water out of the spit to wash himself.
Okay.
And I took the shot as is natural for me. It's just how it's automatic for me. I took the shot, moved, and I noticed that there were maybe 7 other photographers taking the same shot after me. And the guy didn't even notice them. And I felt like shit after I took the shot. I felt even worse after I saw it. There are a lot of images in my catalog right now that look just like that. So the image that I posted was of a woman climbing over a fence, an elderly woman, had to be in her 70s at least, trying to climb over a barrier to get around to where we were going. So the story goes, we had been taken to the Kumela by security. We had our own private security with us, like police, military, whatever.
Well, would you say off-duty cops kind of thing?
Kind of like that, but also on duty cops. We had proper fucking security. Like we had literally like cops stopping traffic for us. Like going into a guy would get off the bus, he'd go talk to the cops, and they wave us through. It was like VIP service all the way. So we get to the mouth of the river, and they have these temporary pontoon bridges to go across.
Right.
The thing with these bridges is they can only handle so many people, and we're in India at a place with 50 million people in one place. So what they did was they limited access to a certain number of people on the bridge at a certain amount of time.
So the bridge won't collapse under the weight.
Exactly. So we were waiting for the bridge to reopen. And it was our group of 35, 40. I can't remember how many of us it is, and maybe 200 local. And I'm going low on that number. 200. That is a low number. It had probably more than that. Let's say 400. Waiting. Walk around taking pictures. And all of a sudden, one of our handlers comes and starts to gather us all up, and he takes us into a side tent. And it's where all the military guys are. And, they say hi, and we're passing through. Hey, how you doing? And we come out right on the bridge, literally right on the side of the bridge, like at the barricade. And what you saw in that image was, as I was coming out of the darkness of the tent, I could see this woman is livid, pissed off, and she's trying to come over the barrier. And I took the shot. And I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was a really cool shot. And as I walked across the bridge, I was like, what the hell? I thought people were going to be coming behind us. I was like, all right, we better hurry up and walk. And one of my colleagues was like, no, you ain't going to hurry. He was like, no, they're keeping it closed. So what they did was they allowed us, the 35, 40 of us, to go across the bridge alone. Granted, these people had been waiting for 45 minutes. It takes about 30 minutes at a good pace for us to walk all the way across the bridge. And even once we got across the bridge, it wasn't even open yet. They didn't open it for all those people. So you have people not only waiting the 45 minutes, they had to wait on us again. And then they had to wait even longer to let the bridge open again.
Wow.
So these people are seeing Westerners, us, not even wearing media kits, who are getting preferential treatment from law enforcement over them at their religious festival,
at their holy festival.
That's what that, and that's why I posted the image to see, where people's heads were on that privilege. It's such a common thing globally, Western privilege, and I don't think a lot of people talk about it.
Well, when I first arrived here, I had to, well, not just when I first arrived. There's a lot of paperwork involved. But I went to the federal building, and I was telling another friend of mine who has been here for a very long time. He's from Jamaica, and he said, "How did it go?" I said, "Man, it was like the United Nations in there because you have people from all over the world doing visas and paperwork and all kinds of things."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "But when I got there, it was pretty good. They gave me what I needed. They told me what I had to do and where to go. And so it was a pretty smooth thing." And he said, "Yeah, man, that's just because you're an American, right?" And I said, "Well, wait a minute. I didn't get to cut in line or anything like that." He says, "No, what you don't understand is they see that American accent and they scramble over themselves to make sure you get the service that everyone else should."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it took me a while to really kind of bite down on that. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, it's globally, and it's
yeah,
interesting about us as brothers too. It's so interesting, and this is part of what I say. Why I say every brother should live abroad for a year. It's and this shit goes to a lot of people's heads too. A lot of the whole poverty porn thing with black folks in Africa. You finally get to experience what it's like to be white in America. You finally get that opportunity to be like, oh shit, this is what privilege feels like. This is what it looks like to be considered human or better than. Like, this is what that feels like to have money. Like, this is what it's like to be a pretty blonde chick with money in the United States, where everybody's falling all over themselves to service you and to cater to you. And it's like, that shit is intoxicating. It's like a drug. And I think it helps you understand people a lot more when you experience the same level of privilege that they have. And it's difficult at times for brothers, I think, for people of color who come from a place of marginalization to like, no, they were just being nice. They're nice to everybody. Like, nah, it's passport privilege, man. It's because you're American. It's because you're
well, yeah,
Canadian. It's because
yeah.
you're British.
When I've been into different businesses, say one of my clients will say, he'll call me in the morning and say, "You know what? I can't meet you at the normal place we're going to meet. Is it appropriate or is it okay if you come by my office?" No problem. I pop in an Uber and go over there. And when I walk in, there's a security guard who, I kid you not, he looks like he could be your brother or my brother. He looks exactly like you or exactly like me. But when I walk in, the level of disgust he looks at me with, it's like, what are you doing here in this district, not as a service person? And the instant I say, "Oh, Professor so and so or Doctor so and so said his office was upstairs," but when they hear the American accent, it changed. And that's when
Yeah.
I became resentful, when I'm thinking, first of all, we're both black, okay?
Yeah.
You could be at any barbecue in my family and blend in. Why would you do this to me when I walk in? But secondly, now all of a sudden I'm somebody.
Yeah.
That really got to me. And my client who's white, he said, "Come here, let me talk to you for a minute." While we were walking downstairs, says, "Try not to be upset at that security guard." I said, "What do you mean?" And he said something to me that resounded. He said, "That security guard is going to be more angry because you are a black person that was born with options, and he'll be more upset with you than the white Brazilians like me who historically made sure that's the best he could ever do." He said, "He
Yeah.
will hate you more than he hates me, and I have the privilege of historical privilege on my side." And this, because this is a guy who's traveled the world and he sees things the way it is, but it just broke something inside me.
Yeah, I think it's also. I think it's very true. A lot of people hate to acknowledge this reality that a lot of black folks globally have issues with black Americans because we fucking complain about everything. Like, rightfully so in a lot of instances, but by comparison from them, because look, you can only see your struggle because you're busy struggling. Like, you can only see your struggle. So when you compare black Brazilian life to black American life, I think we come out ahead in a lot of circumstances, especially as a black American that's in Brazil when compared to black Brazilians in Brazil. And there's a lot of resentment there that exists that people refuse to talk about. It's like if you acknowledge this fact that there's issues, somehow you're anti-blackness, you're anti-black. Like, yo, man, there's a very real conversation to be had about how people of color have been taught we've been programmed to dislike each other, to be offended by each other's success or opportunities, to be, resentful of each other. Like, that's vestiges of slavery and colonialism. Like, but you can't fucking talk about it, and you're anti-black. I talk about it all the time. Like, yo, man, a lot of Africans ain't fucking with us. Like, you see it all the time. We have these conversations all the time in Asia. Like, you're Black American or you're Black British, we're different. Or Black Canadian, we're not like African.
But wait, let's back up. Well, because I mean, unless you're going where I hope you're going, because when you talk, and this is kind of my bag because I worked in finance for so long and I kind of studied the flow of money and such. When you're talking about those north of the hemisphere people, money flows from the south of the world to the north of the world. So if you're any of the northern hemisphere Black, your whole situation is just different.
Yeah, socioeconomic privilege.
Yeah, your whole
money equates to passport privilege. That's what it does. It's like, yeah, like, you get pulled over by the cops and you're Lil Wayne. Yeah, you're still Black, brother. However, you got a hell of a lawyer to make that shit go away, or that experience a lot easier. Like, socioeconomic power matters.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing, and brother Dave, I don't know if you've been on with him. Dave co-hosts some of these things with me.
I think that was the last time. Yeah, that's one of the Sunday talks. Yeah.
Dave said something interesting to me though, because he lived in Brazil before I even lived in Brazil.
Yeah.
He said, I want you to remember something about living in this country. He said, here, money can actually shield you in a way that it doesn't in America. Because here, because of where you live, yes, there's going to be a whole lot of horrible things, especially if you're not someone with money and if you're Black. But he said, here, you can money your way out of things in this country that in America, they'll shoot the Black guy who looks like he may have something going for himself the same way. Whereas here, it's a weird situation. But also, I don't live in those places. I have people who often say, why don't you go see the real fill in the blank country? Let's just say Brazil. And what do you mean the real? Well, we're down in the favelas. I'm like, wait, you mean the shanty towns? Yeah. Well, I didn't live in poverty in America. Why would I live in poverty?
They go abroad to go backwards? What are you talking about?
Like, wait, I have an apartment with cable and electricity.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. It's the same. It's the same in Thailand. Like the neighborhood where I live. But yeah, it definitely ain't the same. Yeah, Thailand and Brazil can't be compared when it comes to like danger and poverty. But I think you're right in that the amount of money that we have, it takes the same amount of money that you have and I have, and equate that to the U.S. It's different than say in Brazil and the U.S. Like our socioeconomic status still goes up significantly more than with the U.S. I would say in the U.S. I'm middle class. Yeah, I'm upper middle class. In Thailand, I'm rich. There's really no. I'm wealthy. I'm very wealthy. My neighborhood is wealthy. Like everybody there is wealthy. So it does. I think your friend David is entirely correct that the amount of money, the same amount of money in abroad when compared to U.S. protects you a significantly larger amount than back home. Yeah. A lot more because the people got dope in the U.S. Like even broke people got money in the U.S. and broke people in like places like Brazil ain't got nothing. Like
right.
It's different.
Well, I explained to people first. I had a conversation. There was a PBS documentary called Poor Kids, and I don't know if you remember. It was from 2012. Really good documentary. Right. And one of the things that they talked about was what is poor in America, because people are genuinely shocked to believe that there is any poverty in America at all under any circumstance. And I said, well, here's the difference. There is poverty in America, but I would suspect that the difference is in America, there is a floor, there is a bottom, whereas in places like this, there is no bottom.
Yeah. There's no socioeconomic structure. There's even though people like to complain about our system of government welfare, that system that is in place at least has a floor. Right. A floor exists. there where, like you said, in places like Brazil, places like India, there's no floor. Whew, like there's a bottom. It's funny. Like I don't know what the number is this year, but I remember it was a couple of years ago that if you made more than $36,000 a year, you were in the top 1% of people globally.
Yes, that's still true. If not, the
Yeah, is it
number's
still
probably gone
36?
down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
And it was like, I was like, man, that puts some shit in perspective, But
Because
you got to factor in the cost of living and quality of life.
and that's the thing. Even when you factor in cost of living, I have a business opportunity in Central Africa. I have a friend who sent me a picture. He says, "Listen, I've got this business I'm running. I could really use somebody with your mind to help me manage it." He says, "Have you ever considered coming out to Central Africa?" I said, "Nah, not really. I'm not really interested." He says, "Well, I just want to send you a couple of pictures. Just keep this on your mind." He sent me a picture. First of all, I would call it a mansion. He calls it a house. He spent less than 100,000 US to have it built for him to his specification, right? His kids have a driver. His wife has a driver. He has his own office. They have a nanny and they have a cook. I was like, well, wait, how much are you spending a month? He was like, he pays less than 100 US for each of them per month. And he's overpaying. He said, I'm overpaying by a lot for their loyalty and helping out their kids and all that. Then he said, but it doesn't stop there. Let me show you something else. Took a picture in the backyard, arm around the wife, two little kids in front of him. It looked like, do you remember those Disney movies? I think one of them was called The Land That Time Forgot, where they just show these lush landscapes of before humans got there. He had a waterfall in his backyard. I was like, where are you, in a park? He said, no, this is our waterfall. Plants, the leaves on the plants were bigger than either one of us. And he's like, just remember, Africa is not what you've been told. So you might want to come on out. I was like, really? But that cost of living thing, because he does similar to what I do. He works online. So when you can work online and you can earn euro, Bitcoin, all those things, it changes the game.
Yeah. I think $100,000 a year, you could do anything. What was my number? I can't remember. Like 2 years ago, I came up with a number that if I made this a year, I could do anything I want, like based on what I enjoy doing. I think it was something like 156K or something like that. But I think everybody's got to find that number. Like, because abroad, when you move abroad, money get real long. It gets real long, man. 50K abroad is a
50K. And look, I got a buddy of mine that wants to buy a place out here, he said. And he said, I want to rent for a while, buy a place. He said, do you think if I came out there with $250 in my pocket, I could stay for a couple years? I said, $250?
Bruh, 250. You can live pretty much anywhere in the world. You can build a house.
Yeah.
For not even half that. Anywhere in the world outside of Western Europe and Singapore. And like Australia, Tokyo, places like that. But Southeast Asia, most of Africa, Central South America.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just the money you're earning; it's the quality of the materials you're getting. That same 100,000 or $5 for that matter, you're not just buying more; you're buying more, and it's good. Like that $5 can buy you a better quality than a same middle income, in any place else.
Yeah,
and it really.
That's why, like I said, I'm building my compound in Bangkok 4 years from now. In 4 years,
you said compound?
Yeah, I'm building a compound, dog.
Are you putting several houses in it?
It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. We'll talk offline.
Are you taking prospectors? Are you taking prospects?
We'll talk offline about this one. But but basically, what it's gonna be is I'm building a place not for me. I'm a traveler, man. I'm a traveler. I cannot be in one place too long. But I'm building a place where friends like you or Dave or everybody, like friends of mine, who can come and say, "Yo, I need a month out. I need to get out of this shit. I need a month, a place to think, to relax, to enjoy, to sleep, to meditate." So I'm building a place like that where it's enough space for people that I care about to come and enjoy. It's free. I'm obviously not going to charge people. Like, it's a place where you can come and rediscover your humanity.
I'm coming by helicopter. I'm telling you now.
I'll have room. I'll have a pad for you.
I'm just gonna rappel down like this.
the security will be ready for you. But man, I'm excited. That's a project. That's where all my energy is going. I think it's one of those places. Bangkok is one of those places that's perfect for a guy like me. It's a big city with a small town attitude, and I love it. So
yeah, Bangkok, I loved it. I stayed there for a while, but I just there's every man has his. For me, Brazil is mine. I got
yeah,
another
it's
man.
happy place.
Yeah, but Bangkok has this. There's this underlying. How can I put it? I never here's this gonna sound odd. I feel safer here than I did
Mhm.
there. There, I feel like I'm always being looked at like prey. And I think the
Yeah,
difference is because
yeah,
I actually considered that as my second passport place. But here's the difference: there's no diversity there. It's either Thai
none.
or Chinese. Whereas
Yeah,
here, you and I can
yeah.
go to a lot of places, and
You can
sometimes if you
blend.
just shut the fuck up, we can actually just
You
go have a
blend in.
burger.
Yeah,
Yeah. People don't look at us as weird until we start talking, or
yeah,
maybe about some of the things we're wearing. But
yeah.
there, it's no matter
The
what,
nation.
what it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Every day is day one. When they see you, no matter how long you've been there, they assume you're an idiot.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. True. Absolutely true. Unless you're wearing a suit, they think you're a teacher, like or somebody professionally. But if you're like in everyday clothes, like we wear shorts and t-shirt, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right, man. That's the perspective, But for me, I love that shit, man. I don't know. I thrive in that environment. I thrive in when people they have different assumptions of me, and I can adjust and shift. It makes business a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. Business in Thailand has been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I'm sorry, man. I'm adjusting. I'm sitting down. I'm in
Don't
the
worry about
bedroom.
it. Listen, you're in my house. You got nothing to apologize for. It's
Yeah.
all right. But that's the thing. It's that whole. I know we're young and strong now, but how am I gonna feel being 50 and still
Yeah.
having to explain? No, I know how much this cost. I live
Yeah.
around the corner. Can you please just give me what I came for? And the
Yeah.
sad part is, I can't be angry at them. If I was born in that situation, I would be hustling too. I mean, when
I love the hustle, man.
my mom
Love
came
the
to
hustle.
visit me in I forgot what year it was, but she came to visit me for a month, which I didn't plan on. That's a whole different story. When she got off the plane, I picked up her luggage and I was like, "Oh, I love you. You're here." She said, "Hold on, we got to get the rest of my bags." I was like, "Bags? What do you mean bags?" She brought 3 bags. I said, "How long you staying?" She said, "I don't know, about a month or so." What do you mean? You just where's your ticket? Where's your ticket home? She was like, "I'll just buy one later." And when she went to where we were staying, I stayed at a little hotel hostel place, and downstairs there was a bar, and where there is a bar, there are bar girls. So my mom goes downstairs, and then suddenly she had like 15 best friends. She was adopting these girls, taking them out shopping, and they were taking her these way out in the middle of nowhere. I'm glad they don't kidnap black people, because they were taking
Yeah.
her way out in the sticks to buy stuff. And I was like, they came back with shopping bags. I was like, how much money did you spend? She was like, about $100, and bought all these girls. They still contact me online asking us what my mother's new address is, because they've written her for years. And I was
And
like,
the funny thing about the interesting thing about that is, God damn it, man, it's so fun. Every time we talk, like it reminds me of projects that I'm working on. So I was in Varanasi. Long story short, there was a situation in Varanasi that could be considered a hustle or a scam that I got wrapped up in. And I'm having this conversation because people say scam all the fucking time. They use scam for everything. And I'm like, not everything is a scam. Some things are a hustle. And I respect a hustle. I have
well,
no issue with a
can
hustle.
you break that down for the people who don't see it? Because
So,
I think I understand, but I want to make sure.
the TLDR of it is, for me, a scam is when somebody blatantly is lying to you and taking advantage of. For example, if I go to a temple and somebody runs up on me and says, "Oh no, the temple's closed," like, no, that's a scam. Like, "Oh, but I'll take you to this different temple where they're getting a kickback." That is a lie. That is a scam. But if somebody says, "Yo, let me shine your shoes," and I'm like, "Yo, how much is it?" $5, and they will actually do it for one, then that's a hustle. Or if somebody's selling, I don't know, they're selling, fans. Let's call them fans. They're in Rome and they're selling fans, right? They're near the Vatican, and they're selling these fans for €5 when they actually bought them for 50 cents. That's a hustle. It's not a scam. It's different. And I think people interchange this. And this is quite common in Southeast Asia, where somebody will find out how much somebody else paid for something, and it was like, "Oh, I got scammed." Like, no, you didn't get scammed. You got hustled.
Hustle.
That's
Yeah.
what happened. They took advantage of your ignorance of the price of this item. They provided a service or a good, and they figured that you would pay €5, which you did. They were correct, but they didn't lie to you.
We might get lucky. There might be somebody coming in and say hello. We might get lucky. We'll see.
Yeah. It was like, I think there's a different, but I'm going to go into, I need to think about this, how to articulate this better. But that's the TLDR of it. If there's a
Can I ask what happened, or is that still under litigation?
No, I'll tell you what happened. Basically, I went to, so they have on the river of Varanasi, on the river of Ganga, is they have these places where they do cremations. You may have seen the videos of it, where they Hindus take the bodies to be burned and to be cremated. So I went to see it, and you're not allowed to take pictures or video.
Right.
I went, and a guy was excuse me, a guy was trying to get me to give a donation. I refused. We started arguing back and forth. Basically told him fuck off. He went away. Then another guy approached me in a different manner, and he ended up convincing me to give a donation. And in hindsight, I'm like, I got fucking played, but well done. But I'll get it. I'll definitely get into it in more detail after I sit down and kind of think about what happened. But basically, a guy, which never happens to me, he scammed me. I got scammed. I got convinced to give a donation to a non-existent charity that I knew better. And it was, and it happened. It happens. It happens because you have empathy. It happens because you're sleepy. It happens because they use kids. It's just a great fucking scam. I'm like, well done. Like, I can't even be mad about it. But it came out. It wasn't a lot. It didn't get me for a lot. So.
And then you don't want to also become jaded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't help it. The more you travel, the more jaded you become. And when you deal with beggars, and the more you know, it's one of those more they prey on ignorance. And those of us who live abroad, who are constantly in these environments with people who are scamming, who are manipulating, who are using emotions to get money out of people, you do become jaded because you fuck around and don't want to engage with people. Right? Because people are hustling. I was in Sri Lanka. Oh my God. Let me tell you about this shit. Sri Lanka. I'm in India for a month. And, I wanted to do my 95th country for my birthday, which was, a couple of weeks ago. So I was like, all right, I'll do Sri Lanka. Never been to Sri Lanka before. So I'm in Colombo. And it was the weekend of Ironman. So I went to the Ironman. That evening, I decided to go over to the Shangri-La. I decided to go to Shangri-La and have drinks. So I'm walking to Shangri-La, and this guy is walking. So I'm crossing the street, and a Sri Lankan guy is walking. And as he passes me, he turns around. I can see it in my peripheral. He turns around in the middle of the street. Which people don't do that. Come on, people do not do that. People do not start across the street and then turn around unless some shit's about to pop off. That's my street. That's my street awareness, right? Like, oh fuck, something's about to go down. So he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm good. How you doing? I'm keeping an eye out. He's like, oh, where you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from the States. He's like, oh, cool. Welcome to Sri Lanka. Blah, blah. Back and forth. We're walking, and he tries to touch my leg. He's like, oh, welcome to Sri Lanka. I'm like, whoa, bro. Don't. What? This is I said, what the fuck you doing, man? And he was like, oh, no. Sri Lankan hospitality. I was like, no, man, I'm good. I appreciate it.
I don't know any hospitality. You walk up and just touch a man. That's
not. I was like, this is after 2 minutes. I'm like, and he was like, no, let me, no, I'm good, dog. No, thank you. So he's like, oh, where are you going? I was like, no, I'm going to my hotel. And he's like, oh, let me walk with. I was like, no, good. and there's this guy on his tuk-tuk. The
A
guy in the
three-wheel motorcycle. People listening, the
yeah,
tuk-tuk is a
sorry,
three-wheel
three-wheel
motorcycle.
motorcycle. Guy, so as you walk down the streets in Colombo, which is where I was, these tuk-tuks will right up on you, similar to they do in Thailand and Indonesia and Philippines, wherever. They ride up on you on these tuk-tuks. And like, oh, yeah, where you going? Where you going? And you just ignore them and keep it moving. It's the same with this guy. And this guy goes, oh, where you going? Where you going? Need a tuk-tuk? I'm like, no, thank you. I'm good. I'm walking. No, thank you. And then the Sri Lankan guy says something to him. Like runs up, runs ahead of me a little bit, says something to him, and then all of us, I swear to God, he's talking to the guy, and then he looks directly at me and starts, "Oh, everything's closed." He starts yelling at me, "Everything's closed this way. Nothing's open this way." And I'm like, "Oh, I cannot believe these guys are trying to hustle me right now." And he comes up and he jumps out of his tuk-tuk. He parks and runs up on me with this little official-looking book, like, "Oh, I'm a tour guide. I don't want anything." I was like, "No, man, I'm good. I appreciate it. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you." I think these guys both were perfectly good dudes. I don't think they were trying to hurt me. I think they were just trying to make a living. They were trying to make some money. But you got to be stern with them. You got to be like, "No, man, no."
I don't even know why you said anything. I would have just
because
up.
that's who I am. That's how I'm built. Like
Okay.
I'll always look a man in the eye and say no.
I'm not.
No matter what.
I'm just doing this. Nah.
Yeah, I will always look a man in the eye and say no. It's just the way. It's my thing. And again, I advocate for your way too. Like I fully advocate that way. But me as a person, because for me, it's a respect thing. And not saying what you do is disrespectful, but for me, anybody who engages me, I feel that I owe them a little bit. I owe them the respect of saying
You've
no
been
to
around the
their face.
block enough times to know the smell of a predator. You know
I
what's
do.
up. So
I
why
do.
would you even you don't have to you don't respect is respect is given and respect is earned. If somebody walks by me and they give me a good faith, hey, how you doing? You need any help? No, I'm good. But when somebody looks at me and I know they're trying to smell me like a newborn calf, nah.
Yeah.
Don't even look at me.
I think it's because I respect here's the thing. I've seen these people be humiliated and abused and looked down upon by foreigners for years. And I've gotten to the point where I have empathy for the position there, and their job is to stand in the street and try to get people to buy scarves so they can feed their kids. That's their job. And for hours on end in the worst conditions possible. And I think that I can at least look them in the eye and say no. But that's just me. That's just who I am, and I have the time. I have the time to engage. And I've met some good dudes. Like I've met some really good people. I'm like, look, man, look, no matter nothing you say is going to get me to come in your shop for a suit. Nothing. There's nothing you can say to me. So we can go back and forth for a couple more minutes, or we can keep it moving. And you have a good day, I have a good day. That's it. But I've met some people who are like, yo, if you want a good restaurant, you can go across the street at this spot, and this place is good. Be careful, watch your bag. Like I've had so many people who will tell me like, oh, be careful with your camera, man. I'm like, all right, man, thank you, I appreciate it. Good looking out, and keep it like when you treat people like humans, like when you treat people as humans, still the humanity in them comes out. Like, okay, not every tourist is an asshole to me. Like maybe you don't know what that person's going through. And let me off my soapbox. You don't know what somebody else's day was like. You
I
don't know
agree. And while I will never advocate egregious disrespect, that's not what I'm saying. But when somebody looks at me and I understand this is the
like
game we're playing,
they're looking at you like a snack. I know what
they're
you're
looking
saying.
at me like a snack. I'm gonna have to, because I'm a nice guy, happy guy, but I know how to turn on the mean mug if I need to. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna just keep it going. Don't look at me, because my whole thing is there's a comfort zone. If you get too close to me, I'm gonna panic, and if I panic, it's bad for everybody. Because I'm not gonna get victimized in the street, because here's the thing. It's like I don't know if you're just trying to get a few dimes off of me, or you're trying to do something worse, because I'm not. That's why I'm not trying to. I don't want to have that conversation. I don't want to have a conversation.
No, hold on. Granted, it's different if it's the middle of the night in a small alley. You're coming from the club, that's a whole different conversation. But just walking down the streets in Mumbai is a good example. There's an area called Kolaba. In Mumbai, it's near the Taj Palace and the Gateway, right on the water. So the Kolaba district of Mumbai is highly touristic. There's a lot of tourists, a lot of shops. Walking down there, and it's only open during the day. So when I'm walking down there during the middle of the day and getting approached by touts, it's easy. It's easy to keep it moving and say no. But it's like if you're at nighttime in certain parts of the city of Delhi, you're like, fuck, like
Yeah.
I'm real concerned right now. Let me say this real quick. I have never felt more uncomfortable at night in a place than I have in New Delhi. Like in the world, I've been to 95 countries. I have never felt more uncomfortable in a place, more aware than in New Delhi. New Delhi is some real shit, man. New Delhi, bruh. Have you been to New Delhi?
No, you know what? India, the continent of India, the continent of Africa. No, India's not a continent, but India, that area, the subcontinent, it's a subcontinent, if I'm not mistaken. The subcontinent of India and Africa are two places that I've never been there. I've just never had that desire. I mean, India, maybe one day, but my whole thing is I spent a good chunk of time in Malaysia, Singapore, China, Japan. Been in Brazil a couple of years, Tokyo, blah blah blah, but that part of the world never really did it for me. Excuse me.
It makes sense, man. I mean, it's bruh, because I last time I went, it had been maybe 10 years since I've been to India before this project. And I've always been worried because I'm always uncomfortable in India. Like India makes me uncomfortable because I'm a city boy. Like I don't like Kerala or the smaller or Goa, the beach. I don't like places like that. I didn't enjoy them. Like I'm not that dude. So I gravitate towards cities. Cities in India, fuck, man. It's man, I don't think people don't get it, man. Like you gotta see this shit. I can't explain it, man. You gotta see it. Like,
well, isn't India slated to take over China's spot as the single most populous place in?
Yeah,
because Brazil is 17. It's like 14.7 million. But in Brazil, you don't feel that oppressiveness. And I think I like the fact that everybody can get hustled anywhere, but in Brazil, you're not walking down the street beating people off, beating people. Sick.
People running up on you.
Yeah, you can go to an area. Well,
India,
you can go to an area, but you don't have people trying to say.
Well, I think, you know what? Honestly, man, let me pull that back. This trip, I was in New Delhi, I was in Varanasi, I was in Prayagraj, Allahabad, I was in Lucknow, I was in Bangalore, I was in Mumbai. So I was in 6 cities in a month. And I would say Delhi was the only place people were always running up on me. Delhi and Varanasi. Like Delhi and Varanasi was the places that people were constantly running up on me. But everywhere else, not really, man. People actually take a lot of pictures. Like people are like, hey, can I take a picture with you? A lot of pictures every day. I take.
Have you ever had somebody put their baby into your hands?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I took so many pictures.
When I was in China, I would go down just downtown someplace, and people would look, because a lot of people don't realize Chinese, because of their government so oppressive. For a lot of them, I was the first not Chinese person they had ever seen.
Yeah.
And I'm black, and that's a bonus. People would put their baby in. I'm like, I don't know you. Why? This is your child. Yeah. Well, but they're not trying to rob you.
It was funny. I was just talking about this in an African American travelers, just travel group. Somebody had posted this old video from years ago about this African family that was in China and showing how they were being treated. And I don't think their intention was for it to be perceived as negative. But black folks, we get emotionally invested in other people's struggles sometimes. And in this group, people were talking about how they were treating them like zoo animals, and that's crazy and disrespectful. And I was like, yo, it's not that Chinese people are just disrespectful; they just don't see black folk. And somebody goes, "Oh, that's bullshit." They get on this this hotep, like black people built the world and we're everywhere and we've been around for thousands of years. So to say that Chinese don't know Africans is bullshit. I was like, yo, clearly you've never been to fucking China. There aren't a lot of black people in China. We don't have a history of African immigration to China. You got to go to Guangzhou, where that's like little Africa. They say in Guangzhou, there's a place.
I got a buddy of mine that business out there.
Yeah, there's maybe 150,000 Africans there. Like, and that's really the only place in China, which is a massive place, that you could go and really see an African community, established community, as opposed to Europe, the US, Central South America, where you got Africans everywhere. But in China, China might be one of the few places in the world where there hasn't been this mass immigration of African immigrants. So when a rural Chinese person says, hey, you're the first African I've ever seen, it's for real. It's a very real thing. And it's coming from a place of not ignorance. I don't like the ignorance. It's of surprise and excitement and confusion and engagement. You're like a giraffe. You're really like a fucking, imagine if you're hanging out in your neighborhood and a fucking giraffe walks down the street. And let's go less exotic. Let's say a horse. You're just chilling in the hood and a horse just walks by. Your ass is grown up seeing horses. You know they exist. You know where to find one. But there's a horse just in your neighborhood. That's what it's like being black in China. Not saying we're animals, but we're exotic like that.
Yeah.
So you see us, and like, oh shit, it's a horse. Let me go take a picture with him. Like, let me say hi to it. I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to disrespect them, but I want to engage with them because I don't know when I will have this opportunity to get in my life, you know? It's the same with a celebrity. If you saw Beyonce, if Beyonce was at your bar girl pub, like Beyonce, just there, you ain't gonna let Beyonce sit there by herself and not be like, yo, Beyonce, why you here? Like, or you saw President Obama showed up.
Who is that guy?
Like, yo, President Obama. like, and I think we get so caught up in our oppression that we project that shit globally when we don't have the same experience globally. Like the interaction with people. Like everybody ain't out to get us, man. Everybody's not out to hurt us.
Yes. You know, speaking of getting out there, can I put on my conspiracy hat?
Oh, here we go. Let me sip my
tea. Didn't we just get done saying what was wrong with Facebook earlier today? And it just has to be wrong with conspiracy time.
I love it. And this popped in my head. So let me break this down for you. So you know, I've got like my digital marketing company. So I've got about 26 clients, and everybody was freaking out, you know, because you know most of my clients are US and Europe. Everybody was freaking the fuck out yesterday about Facebook and Instagram being down. And it was funny. I noticed it before they even announced it. Like a lot of us, we noticed it before. It was like, fuck. And so we're on Twitter like, yo, are you guys having issues with posting? Like I couldn't do anything. Like I actually was on a call with one of my clients on Facebook Messenger. We were talking and then I had to send him a screenshot of analytics and I couldn't send the screenshot. I was like, that's weird. And then I went online. I couldn't do it either. And that's how I like started to dig into it. And it was funny because Facebook went down, and then I was like, okay, let me go work on their IG. IG went down. I'm like, whoa, that's weird. And then people were saying WhatsApp went down. Mine didn't actually go down though. And it was funny just seeing how people on Twitter were freaking the fuck out. And a couple weeks ago, I was telling people, you have to stop building businesses on somebody else's real estate. Why do you guys not have blogs? Why do you guys not have your own space where you own everything? And everybody said, oh, well, social media is, no, social media is, it should accent everything else. Everything should be a funnel to your shit. Everything, social media should be a funnel to everything else. But you guys are building your entire business on it. This girl, her name is Tiffany Dowd, I believe. D-O-W-D, Tiffany. Lux something. She made a comment, freaking out about this, and I said, "Yo, I find it hilarious. I think it's hilarious how people are freaking out over social media when we all saw this coming."
Yep.
And she was like, well, I don't think it's hilarious at all because I have a luxury business, a global marketing, social media business, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, you built on somebody else's real estate. They could shut down Facebook forever right now, and there's not a damn thing you could do about it because you built on somebody else's playground.
Yep.
That's your fault. The conspiracy side of that is, they got hit. They got hit. It's like they're too big for this to just be an accident.
Well,
Somebody
here's
hit
the thing. I was just listening to do you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if you look at
I saw the Twitter one. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. That was real good.
That bitch was lying. She was lying her ass off. I was like, who at Twitter thought this bullshit was a good idea? They got destroyed. Twitter's ridiculous hypocrisy and liberal bias is so blatantly obvious to anybody who's conscious of any fucking thing.
There's a woman.
It can't stand up in the face of actual conversation.
I'm gonna put the link in the description as well. A woman named Renee DeResta, who talked about the Russian hacks and things like that, but she didn't just talk about the Russian hack. What she talked about was, if you want to destroy a society, everybody thinks about accidentally shooting off a missile. She said, do you understand that if they got on your social media and using nothing but memes, persuaded thousands of people, because she didn't just talk about the election. She gave clear examples of how we know this is Russia. We saw them do it before, where they would just get people to do things. They would create entire movements online. She said they have classes on Americans. How do they think? What do they write? How are they going to write? And then she says they get real granular. They have a certain group that's dedicated to you are Black Americans. What are they thinking about? What do they like? What do they not like? I mean, it was really
not
granular.
only them. Like Chinese have it, Japanese have it. It's market research. They've been doing this forever. We do it. It's market research.
It's one of those situations where
it's beautiful. Fucking love it. I love it. It's manipulating human. Oh God, it's fun for me. Like it's my passion is to watch people, how people move and interact and evolve and devolve and get manipulated and controlled. It's fucking beautiful science. It's dangerous, and people don't see it. People just don't.
I've always studied penetration testing. I've studied penetration testing, and I've studied behavior patterns, and I've read a lot of books about just how predictable we are. But right now, they have such a level of information that it's crazy to know.
Well, that we've given them.
True. Yeah. Because nothing is free. Everybody wants to believe. Wait a minute, I'm getting all this free social media, and I'm just gonna get it. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this shit ain't free, B. Like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, I can't believe that they would use my information. You gave it to them. What are you talking about? This shit ain't free. Like, what are you thinking? Like, they're all magnanimous. Like, social media is a business. Servers cost money. Like, I have to pay for. If you want to come, if I want you to come to my website, I have to pay for that shit. Like, well, how do you think I get money? Like, that's like you bitching about me having Google ads on my website. How dare you have Google ads on your site? How the fuck do you think I'm paying for this, man? You're not paying me for my opinion, for my work. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and it's scary because when they all went down, I mean, I can't wait to see the paper, the tinfoil hats.
Oh yeah, beautiful chaos.
Could they ever actually say this is why it happened?
No, bro, like seriously, I was like, yo, I can't do shit else. I'm going to sleep. And I woke up and I got on the call with you. So I haven't looked into anything since it all crashed. And I know something is still wrong. I think it was Instagram. IG, somebody sent me a link on IG that I couldn't, my Instagram still fucked as I woke up. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know what may or may not be wrong. As long I just checked my website. My website is okay. So
yeah, I was like, my website's okay. So fuck what y'all talking about. Like my real estate's good.
Yeah, once I realized that, let's see. I tried posting something earlier that linked to us to our thing, and it said that it wouldn't let me tag people, and then it said, "Well, you're restricted from tagging now." for a day, which okay, it doesn't bother me. But when I tried to tag people in the post, it just wouldn't even go. It's not a big deal. But that's my whole thing is what could possibly happen? What could possibly happen to get all of them? Because it got all the majors. Now here's my question: Are all the
Well,
majors and all the guys?
it's targeted under the same brand. It only hit. Yeah, it's back up now. My Facebook's back now. It only hit Facebook companies. It was smart. It was brilliant. It's fucking beautiful. I love it. It might have been a test. It might have been a test. Like, what would happen if you destroy the biggest social media sites in the world at once? If you hit them all. And if I was the government, let me be like, if I was the president, I'd do some shit like that. I would. 100% would do it. I'm like, yeah, I want to see how people react. Or if I'm a terrorist, I want to see how people react. Or if I'm building my own company, I want to see how people react. The information that they gathered from this can be used in so many ways. In
Well,
so many ways.
I don't necessarily fear taking it away as much as I do the subtlety of inserting false information. Like what that lady Renee DiAresta said is what a lot of people don't realize is that these accounts that you see being activated for all kinds of different things, these accounts have been around for years. They'll just have a bot pretend to say, okay, I like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and hamburgers. And it'll just post random stuff for 2 years. But then when they hit the bell, maybe once a week they say something political. Then they start to gear it in. They'll say, who likes this group? Is it guys from the Midwest? Is it Black Americans? So then they slide in, well, Black people like us or we Midwesterners. And by the time they funnel it all down over the course of, let's say, a 4-year election cycle, they start the first 2 years, they're just talking about jujitsu and hamburgers. Then they start to funnel it down. They're going to lose some people. But by the time they get the ones left, they'll say, well, we're going to do a rally. And they'll arrange rallies in the same place for different opposing political ideologies, which they've actually done. We know they've done this just to see what happens. Because, again, America's at that tipping point, and I think we are on the longest tipping point in history.
Yo, man, we're gonna have to make a shift, man. Like, I think people are gonna have to make a choice if they're okay with being controlled and manipulated or they're not. And I think most people are because it's
people should have made that choice a long time ago. They're okay with it.
Well, I mean, yeah, you know what? Let me shut the fuck up on that because I have no rebuttal to that. Like, yeah, people have made that choice long ago. I mean,
people made the choice to sacrifice. Think about
they consciously. Hold on. Here's my rebuttal, sir. I think people because I think there's a difference between ignorance and willful ignorance. I think a lot of people were ignorant to the information that they were giving away. And again, part of that was being lazy. Part of that is not understanding the legalese of contracts, like the terms of service agreements that they were signing. And when Cambridge Analytica things happened, and everybody was informed that look, this is what they're doing with your information. You can take it or leave it. And a vast majority of people are like, okay, which is exactly what I said. People are like, oh, there's going to be an exodus, hashtag Facebook is over. Like, you don't understand people. You clearly don't understand how people look.
Not even a little bit.
People have always historically been okay with giving up freedom for convenience. Always. It's probably the most consistent human trait, like when it comes to government, like or companies. People will give up freedom for convenience.
It's a scary thing when you realize, like, I don't know. I've always had burner email accounts and things like that, but I just have friends that talk about, well, this is how, and this might not be true anymore, but I have friends that were very successful online very early, and all they would do is say, hey, my mailing list, everybody gets a free, I don't know, something or other. My free ebook, which might be a legitimate ebook, just give me your email address. Because we know it's a numbers game. If I can pull together 10,000 emails, 1,000 of those people are going to buy something from me.
Yep. If you get a 10% rate, you're doing very well. Like, you're doing fucking very well, man. I really should get an email list. It's one of those things.
You don't have one? I've got a tiny one.
Everybody gets mad at me about this shit. Like, everyone's like, how the fuck do you not have an email list, Eric? I'm like, it's just one of those things I just never, I never liked them. Like, I think I hate them, so I don't want to do them. Like, it's just
Well, it's
but there's
voluntary.
some that are good. Like, have you seen the Discoverer? It's a site. They have great fucking emails. And Gary Vaynerchuk, that
Very deep.
motherfucker, a goddamn machine. Gary V, that dude. Like, I don't even like most of this shit doesn't apply to me, but it's just I like listening to him talk. Like
Well,
the way
Gary, one of the things he talks about too, he said, "You just found out who I am," and then he'll put up something 10 years ago. He was trying to give people
yeah,
this game, and nobody
still
wanted to listen.
relevant.
But
Yeah, ain't nobody trying to
they're
fuck
like,
with.
"Oh, overnight success." He was like, "Nobody was listening to me then. Nobody's
Nope.
trying to listen to me," and I'm giving. But he built that empire up and started with a family. But now, granted, he started with a family that had a family business, so
Yeah.
he did have that. But
Historically correct. The guy's been historically correct when it came to the internet. Like, he's consistently shown that he's been right. Yeah, I think it was one thing. There was one example that he gave that he was wrong as fuck. I don't think it was Uber. Like, he didn't invest in Uber. He had an opportunity to invest in Uber and he did it. I think it was Uber or Airbnb. It was Uber or Airbnb, but I think it was Uber that he didn't invest in. And he was like, "Yeah, that was my mistake." But he was right about Instagram. He was right about Twitter. He was right about Facebook. He's been fucking right about all these different podcasts. He was way ahead of the podcast curve. I remember that. That's how I discovered it.
And the thing that he always preaches, he tells people, don't worry about what platform you're using. Don't worry about what time you should publish. He's just like, keep putting stuff out there. Find the
Yeah.
people that like you. Well, what time is the best time to get the most? He was like, just put the work in. Just
Yep.
put the work
Yep.
in every
Yep.
day.
Yep.
But he
Yep.
also has said something that you and I can relate to, and maybe some other people listening. He also talked about, you got to have a certain amount of life experience to even be somebody people want to listen to. Nobody's
Yeah.
taking life experience from some 24-year-old.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are taking life experience from 24-year-olds. Unfortunately, they're called other fucking 24-year-olds. Like, unfortunately, that's part of the problem. It's like you see these kids, oh my God, man, fucking in my industry, in travel journalism or influencing, you have, say a guy like me, my YouTube's what, 13,000 people, or some shit like that is really low. It's because I don't post that much. It's simple. But my thing is, I don't post when I don't have shit to say. If I don't have something to say, I'm not posting something. We live in a world where people post shit even when they don't have anything to say. And they gather these huge followings of people who also don't have shit to say. And they listen and they absorb these things. And it was like, yo, what this guy is saying is bullshit, people. Hey, it's like, oh, you only have 13,000. What do you know? He has 100. I'm like, guys, he's wrong. What he's saying is wrong. But that's what people gravitate towards. They gravitate towards those numbers and they chase those.
Well,
With a
nobody wants to
ferocity.
hear like when I wrote my piece on Leaving America 101, or when you gave your little talk on don't just jump out the window saying I'm going to be this expat traveling journalist.
Yeah.
I don't need to do anything, because I remember you were telling people, slow the fuck down, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Don't just jump out the window. You can't be like me overnight. I don't care what the dude online told you, because nobody wants to show anybody the other side of their report card. Nobody wants to talk about the struggle. Like people tell me all the time, I get messages about Brazil off, hey, Wateef saw you online, I'm moving to Brazil. Whoa. Have you heard the phrase Brazil is not for beginners? Like, that's real. I've lived all over the world. I've lived in Shanghai to London, so I can handle it. But I know people that just came fresh off the farm.
Like, nigga, you ain't coming from Atlanta to fucking like, dog, like, fam, there's no MRT. Like, there's no
and what I always tell people, there are places that I always consider starter countries. Like
Thailand.
Nah.
Thailand's a starter country.
Nah, that's you're jaded on that one. Thailand has too many places you can put your foot in the wrong thing in.
Really?
And yeah, because here's the thing: you walk downtown in Thailand, bad looks for you. If you don't have the kind of constitution, if you if you don't have a certain level,
okay.
Yeah,
True.
if you don't have a certain level of life experience that teaches you,
True.
A, don't do a bad thing, or B, I'm going to do this bad thing, but I'm mature enough to know this shit is bad so I can monitor it. If you don't have that, you're 24 years old, you're fresh out of college, I want to see the world, I'm going to move to Bangkok.
They're fucking eating up. True. You're right.
Come back home in flip flops.
You might not come back with those shit with dirty feet.
Yeah, but the places I would say is like, and people are always shocked until I explain it to them. Find a place in Japan. Why?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tokyo. Yeah.
Japan is beautiful. It's fun. The food is great, and it is so structured. You can't
Safe,
fuck up.
clean.
They're not going to let you fuck up. You won't even be an
South
opportunity.
Korea.
South Korea.
Yeah, true. South Korea. I'll say I would even go far as say the UK also, if you could afford it.
I would say Australia.
I haven't been to Australia yet, so I don't know.
I lived in Australia. I lived in Australia for a while, Sydney, and it's a unique place in the world because of how it's founded and the kind of people that are there. It's a little bit more diverse than you think, but if you get a good spot downtown, it's not a bad place. It's fun, and you don't have that whole bad looking you in the eye trying to say, "Hey, come on down."
Yeah, come on in. That sexiness, like, oh shit.
Yeah, but
that is sexy, man. That is sexy.
It is, because you can live in Thailand because the bad stuff is invisible to you, and you know what bad is. But I got cousins that talk to me about, man, why do I want to be like you? I want to travel the world. Great, where you going? I don't know. Where should I go first? I have some friends in Bangkok. Whoa, slow down. Well, let's not. Or Malaysia? Would you say Malaysia is?
Yes. Yes. Oh God. Yeah. Malaysia is fucking boring. Like KL. It was funny. So I got an Airbnb and I actually have roommates, and they're from the Philippines. And we went to dinner last night and we were just talking. It's kind of their first time here, and we were talking about why I'm here. Even though I've got my place in Bangkok, why didn't I just go home? I was like, well, the thing about Bangkok is when I go home, it's chaos. I get home, I've been on road since, right after the New Year. So a couple, 2 months. And I was like, I got to catch up with my friends, and then I get back in my routine, go to my gym, see the ladies. Like, I got to get back in the groove. And it's chaotic, and my work suffers. But here, it's so boring in KL. It's a cool
It's
city.
not boring.
Man, KL's boring as fuck. Like, it's so boring in KL.
Listen, for people listening, if you want a good, fun, diverse experience with some culture, it's boring. For somebody like me, you can go places you can read, you can take in.
I'm falling asleep thinking about this shit. No, boring in that. This what I mean. All right. Since you want to go there, let me quantify what I mean by boring. When you compare KL to a Tokyo, to a London, to a Berlin, to a Bangkok, to a New York, to a Rio, it's a boring city. There's just not a lot. The city shuts down at midnight. Like after 12 o'clock, there's not much happening in the city. There are a few clubs open and they close at 2. Like the city is a quiet place. Right now, like there's nothing going on outside my window. There's no noise. There's no like it's a very quiet.
Think about the fact that you just said that like it's a bad thing.
I'm not saying I'm saying it as a bad thing, and because I'm a chaos kid. I thrive in places of chaos. Like I live in Bangkok, in the fucking middle of Bangkok. So when people come to visit me who are used to it, they're like, "How do you deal with this?" Like, deal with what? This is a home. It's home. But if you take me and you put me in, say, I don't know, Chiang Mai, Thailand, for example, I fucking hate it. I hate Chiang Mai so much.
Must be all that swimming and sleeping in a hammock and having breakfast, looking at the sunrise. You just don't like that. It's just too nice for you.
I hate it. I hate it. It's like you're waiting to die. Like that's what it's like.
Hard.
That shit is like I'm waiting
so
to
jaded.
Die. But I'm a city boy. So when I say boring, okay, it's what other people find charming, but it's quiet. I should stop using the word boring and say it's quiet and slow. And it's a place where I can get work done because I'm not distracted by the other things that I enjoy. So I was talking to them about a place like KL, Malaysia. Back to your original point. It's a place that you really have to work hard to find trouble. As we were walking down the street, the female asked me, "Hey, is it safe here?" And I'm like, Kuala Lumpur is probably one of the safest capital cities in the world. Extremely safe. Like I can't find trouble here. Like it's hard to find
You know
trouble to
you're
get
telling
into.
on yourself now. This past 10 minutes, you've been telling on yourself a
Hey,
lot.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I cannot find even like yo. I'm trying to turn up tonight. It's hard. It's a little hard to like outside of let's go to the bar, get fucked up, find hookers kind of shit. Like outside of that stuff, it's very difficult to like have a really good time nightlife wise here. Bangkok, not at all. New York, not at all. London, Berlin, not at all. Rio, I'm sure, not at all. So
São
I
Paulo,
would,
where I live, is the same, but
yeah,
but here's the difference. In those places that you just named, including São Paulo, where I live, you can lead any life you want. So
yeah,
if you are like for me, a good time is gonna be let's go downtown and there's a new restaurant. But we have different, we would have to hang out in that 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. range, and then we would just tag off, and I'd be like, all right, man, I'm gonna go maybe catch a late night movie and have some
but
popcorn and go chill out, and you'll be like, I'm going to
it's
party.
just started. Like, but I don't leave the house till 10 p.m. Like, what the fuck you mean? 8 p.m.? What kind of unicorn time is that? Like, I'm in my power nap phase. What are you talking about? I'm just rolling out of bed, baby.
Listen. I always love talking to you, and I made it a point to put all the stuff where people can find you as well, so that
Yeah,
everybody can find you on social media and all that. I just hadn't caught up with you in a while, and I wanted your opinion on a few different things. So I'm glad we had a
yeah.
chance to chat again.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. I can't never make your Saturday talks, man. Like, bro, I was like, why do you have like, bro, Saturday night? I'm like, there's no way in hell you don't catch me on a Saturday night on a 2 hour conversation.
But
I was like,
you got to remember, it's like 1 p.m. here,
yeah,
so
yeah. Saturdays are my days, man. Yeah, because it's flipped because that's the evening. Like I remember did like the calendar, and it was like at 10 p.m. my time on a Saturday night. I was like, there's no way in hell I'm ever gonna make one of those, man. Like, there's no way.
well. And here's the thing: they have
But I
been.
could do these like during the day. Yeah, like it's fucking Thursday morning for me.
Yeah.
I could always do these.
Here's the thing: those have been turning out nicely, though. We have really started
Yeah,
to develop a
yeah.
group, and it takes us a little while, but we get to that point where we really start hitting some pretty
Mm.
interesting notes.
It was fun last time. It was really fun last time. I really wish I could do them. I wish I could do them, but Saturdays are. I mean, they're Saturdays, and you
And
know
you are
what happens
you.
on Saturday. You know what happens on Saturdays for the kid, man.
Hey, you have a good night, brother.
You too, brother. I get up with you later, man.
Bye bye.